Namaste everyone, this is Vishwa and this is a continuation of the Indian philosophy in little bit more detail. So this will be a three-part series video in which I will take two philosophies at a time because two of them go together, and I will talk about each of them individually, and then I will talk about their differences, similarity and their common practices, so that you have a better understanding that how these philosophies work together. You will be surprised that their approaches may be different, their analysis may be different, but the kind of practices they offer are very common in nature. But before I go into the philosophy, I want to talk about three things. One is the literature. So all of the philosophies are based on sutra literature, and I will talk about what are the rules of the sutras. And then second thing is about the proofs. To establish a philosophy, you need to provide a valid proof, and they are 6 in numbers, which I will also talk about that. And then the third thing is the common approach, what kind of common question or common issues they address and what kind of answer they produce. So this will be my framework to approach to these main 6 Indian philosophies, in which yoga is the one which I am more inclined, and we'll see how the yoga brings information from different philosophy as well. So thank you. Let me first share with you the basic information and the common approach I have used across all the 6 philosophies for a better understanding. So first of all, we have to understand that all these 6 philosophies follow sutra literature, and the sutras has certain rules, and they are 4 in numbers. First of all, the sutra should contain minimum number of letters. Second, the meaning should be very clear without any doubt. Third, it must contain the essence of the subject. And fourth, it should reflect all aspects of the same. So for example, if I say the Yoga Sutra chapter 1, sutra number 1, which is one of the popular and well-known sutra, is called Atha Yoga Anusasanam. Now the discipline of yoga or the teachings of the yoga begins. Now this is small sutras can be explained in many different ways by different masters, and the different interpretation takes different view, and that's how you will see in some of the philosophy there are different sub-schools within one school because of the interpretation. So now we'll wonder that how this philosophy provide the proof that whatever they are saying, how they conclude that they are right. So they have to produce proofs, and there are 2 kinds of proof. One is direct versus indirect. Indirect, it is direct perception. In indirect, there are 5 types. So there are overall total 6 means of proof, and they can use one or all of them. So in indirect, there are inference, comparison or analogy. Third is testimony or word. Fourth is postulation or presumption. And fifth is non-perception or non-existence. So these are the total 6 which are used to validate the logic or conclusion, whatever they are saying. So now I'm going to talk about the topics which I'm going to cover. I'm going to take 2 philosophies at a time, talk about their basic nature of the philosophy, the key features of the philosophy, and the differences and similarity between them, and then try to find the answers of 5 questions. How this world was created? If so, who created it? And what is the nature of individual soul or spirit? Why do we suffer and if there is any way to get out of the suffering. If so, what is the recommended practice according to that philosophy? And that's my approach. And let's go into the first philosophy, which is Nyaya and Vaisesika duo. So these two go together. So let's talk about the Nyaya philosophy first. The school of logic, which is the basic foundation of all other philosophies. So, Nyaya means rules, method, judgment, or justice, or the logic. That's why it is called a school of logic. This is the foundation school for all Indian philosophy. The founder of this school was sage Gautama. Just to point it out that there was another famous sage called Maharishi Gautama. He was a different person. The Gautama wrote Nyaya Sutra with 528 sutras around 550 BC, which became the foundation of this philosophical school. So Nyaya system considers 16 things for studying the reality. Because of the limited time, I am going to cover the most important, the first two. So the first one is the objects of true knowledge, means these must be known for the liberation. The second is the valid source of knowledge. This school puts those as primary things, as how you can know and truly and correctly figure out that this is the true knowledge. The other things I will just mention it. There are rules and methods regarding each of these 16s, which includes doubt, as how you're gonna figure out this is a doubt, a correct doubt or wrong doubt. Same way, aims, example, doctrine, constituent of inference, logic, valid and invalid logic, conclusion, how will you come to conclusion, argument to discover the truth, that there are rules about that too. To argue just to win, how would you know that there is an argument is just happening because they want to just win this debate? And how to find this is a destructive criticism, how to know that this is apparent but not a valid reason, how to know what is unfair reply, how to know what is false analogy, and also what are the rules or the grounds of defeat if you're having a debate. So these are the 16 major things important for studying the reality in Nyaya philosophy. So, under this number one, object of true knowledge, there are 12 objects of knowledge which must be known for the liberation. And these are the soul, suffering, freedom from suffering, the body, the five senses, object of the senses, cognition, mind, activity which relates to karma, results, rebirth, mental defect, for example, attachment and aversions. So if we know these 12 objects or 12 things, then we can be able to liberate ourselves. So now the second important thing is how to validate the knowledge. So Nyaya philosophy considers 4 valid sources: direct perception, inference, comparison, and testimony. These are the 4 out of the 6 I talked earlier. Now it also says that there are 4 invalid sources which cannot be considered, and that is memory, doubt, erroneous perception, hypothetical arguments. So these are the main features which I just covered quickly. It's very limited time to go into each of them in detail. So now let's focus on Vaisesika philosophy, that is the school of atomistic pluralism. So let's see what is this atomistic pluralism. So the name of this school is Vaisesika because it studies Vishesha or uniqueness as an aspect of the reality. It is also famous for the atomic theory principle and pluralistic realism. The founder of this philosophy was sage Kanad. He wrote a text called Vaisesika Sutra containing 374 sutras around 600 BC. So Vaisesika philosophy covers 7 categories of reality which must be known in order to understand the whole universe. They are substance, quality, action, generality, uniqueness. This is the uniqueness based on Vaisesika name came from Vishesha. Then sixth is inherence, and the last one is non-existence. The quality here in Sanskrit is also called guna. This guna is different than Samkhya's philosophy word guna, because here each substance has its own quality and action. So for the discussion, I am going to pick the top 2 categories to discuss. The first one is substance and second is the quality. So according to Vaisesika philosophy, there are 9 substances which must be known, and they are earth, water, fire, air, space, time, direction, soul, and mind. Soul are of 2 types. One is the individual soul, which are infinite in number, and the other one is the only one, which is Supreme Soul or God. Now the second category is called quality, and as per Vaisesika philosophy, there are 24 qualities of each substance. So here we have the list of 24 quality, which is color, taste, smell, touch, sound, number, uniqueness, magnitude, pleasure, pain, desire, aversion, union, separation, remoteness, nearness, cognition, effort, heaviness, fluidity, viscosity, tendency, virtue, and non-virtue. So these qualities are used. It's like, we can further go in other details, but it's like the Vaisesika has become physics and chemistry to analyze every aspect of this substance. So let's talk about the most famous theory of Vaisesika theory, which is called atomic theory. So Vaisesika says the atoms are the smallest particle of the universe. However, the modern science and Vaisesika differs in their approach. The modern science says that the movement of the atoms are governed by the mechanical laws, but Vaisesika says that the movement of atoms are governed by the supreme order or the God, based on the individual soul's karmas. So these were the main features of Nyaya and Vaisesika philosophy. Now I'm going to talk about the differences and similarity between these philosophies. So, differences. Nyaya maintains that all the reality is comprehended by 16 categories, but Vaisesika only recognizes 7 of the reality. Nyaya accepts 4 independent sources of knowledge, but Vaisesika accepts only first 2, direct perception and inference. Nyaya dives more on the logical side. However, Vaisesika uses the logic to dive deeper on atomic level to find the uniqueness. The rest of the philosophy are very similar, thus they are bundled together. So now I will talk about the similarity between these two. The first, both study reality. The second, both accept the same theory of creation and existence of God, which you will see further down in next slides. Third, both refutes the Samkhya theory of causation. Now you will wonder, what is this theory? I will cover this in the Samkhya philosophy, and then you will get an idea what it is. Fourth is both wants attainment of liberation from suffering and rebirth. So they have a common idea about it. Both suggest this liberation is only through the true knowledge. So both focuses on Jnana Yoga, means the liberation through true knowledge. So now I am going to focus on those 5 big questions and their answers. First is about the creation of the world. So according to Nyaya and Vaisesika philosophy, the physical world is product of those 9 things, which includes physical atoms, substance, and non-physical entity. 5 elements, as you know: earth, water, fire, air, and space. And 4 non-physical entities are time, direction, mind, and soul. They say that God creates this world, and the creation simply means the ordering of the eternal substances which are coexistence with God to form into moral world shaped according to the karmas of individual soul. So God creates everything according to individual karma. So second question was about the creator or God. So both school accepts that God as the ultimate cause of the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the world. These 3 stages are cyclic in nature and happens on the will of God, and God possesses all the 6 perfections. God is the first efficient cause and not its material cause. God is the moral governor of the world, giving awards to meritorious and punishing the wicked one. One of the most important reasons out of 10 reasons it gives in the theory for the existence of God, it says that there must be a supremely intelligent agent behind the creation, wherein almost all the components are inert and the souls are of the very limited knowledge and power. So basically there must be something beyond these individual souls who has the higher intelligence to take care of this world. So now the third question is about the individual soul. According to both theories or both philosophies, individual souls are infinite in number. They are eternal and indestructible. Consciousness is not intrinsic to them, but an attribute due to association with the mind, which is considered atomic in size. So individual jiva or the soul and consciousness doesn't come inherently with it. It comes because of the mind. That's what this philosophy says. And the individual souls themselves are all pervading and gets all its experience when its mind is related to the outside world through the sense organ. The last and important question was about liberation and suffering. And both schools say that the liberation is only by acquiring true knowledge. And the cause of our suffering is because of ignorance. So true knowledge is the one that you are the spirit, distinct from the body and the mind, as also the senses. So true knowledge is experienced and acquired by threefold practice, which I'm going to discuss next. So now let's come to the practice which Nyaya and Vaisesika philosophy both uses it. This is the philosophy which actually introduces the steps of Jnana Yoga. So both Nyaya and Vaisesika philosophy suggest threefold practice for liberation. First is listening and understanding spiritual knowledge. Second, reflecting on gained knowledge and establishing the firmness in mind. And then meditating on the soul based on the reflection. So Sarvana, Manana and Nididhyasana is the 3 steps process. This is a Jnana Yoga practice. So this concludes the information about Nyaya and Vaisesika philosophy on a very high level. My next talk will be on Samkhya and Yoga philosophy, which is the core foundation of many other philosophies. So I hope you join me in the next session on Samkhya and Yoga philosophy. Thank you very much. So that sums up the Nyaya and Vaisesika philosophy. I hope you had some useful information from it and you enjoyed. And if you like, please do share and comment. Thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you so much for listening. If you like the information, please subscribe, like and share so that everyone else can also enjoy this.